is Pastor Lindsey Williams. And Pastor, before we get into the topic, our first topic being the election tonight, I want to thank you, sir, for spending time with us this evening. I know that you have canceled a lot of things in order to be with us. God bless you, sir. I do appreciate that.
Bobby, it is a privilege to be with you on your show tonight, and you were right a moment ago. This is the only show anywhere in the world that any audience will hear me this week. I did not do a single radio show last week, and I will not be doing a single radio show next week. And the only reason I'm doing your show tonight is because you had me scheduled a month or two, I guess 2 months ago. And I keep my word. And when I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it.
Yes,
so I kept this radio broadcast tonight. And, folks, this is the only place that you're going to hear some of the things you're going to hear tonight.
Yes, thank you very much, Pastor Williams. And just for the record, folks, for those of you out there taking notes, and you will find out later in tonight's program why we have already scheduled Pastor Williams strategically, I might say, for the 4th of December. There is a reason for that, and Pastor Williams will get into that sometime this evening, probably not right away. But let's go ahead, let's get right into this thing. Phone lines are open. 1-877-213-6404 or area code 812-307-4363. Any question that you would like to ask Pastor Lindsey Williams, he is up for the fight tonight, I guarantee it. Again, like he said, this is the only program he's doing within a week either side of tonight. And I would also encourage even our listeners in Europe who have been calling me and emailing me asking about Pastor Williams and his next interview here. This is your opportunity as well. We use Skype around here. As a matter of fact, for those of you who do not know, all you need to simply do is Just Measures Radio. It's our Skype name. You can Skype us as well as call us on those phone numbers. That phone number one more time, 877-213-6404. And Pastor Williams, let's get into this thing before the phone calls start coming in. And that is, let's talk about the election. Because now I remember the last time we were on, I was saying, it looks like to me Obama's going to be there. You were thinking that, and you were saying that the elite, their man was Romney. How say you that, sir, after this time? And I know the answer already, folks, but I want Lindsey to share it with you.
Well, your listeners, Bobby, can go back in the archives, and what they will hear is you heard the following. You heard me say that the elite did not want Mr. Obama back in office. Now, that's what you heard me say. I never said that Romney was going to win. I said that the elite did not want Mr. Obama back in office, and they don't. And they have, folks, you cannot imagine the problem that you, the middle-class Americans, or the average person all over the world, not the person on the street that has nothing, not the rich man that has a lot. The average person is going to suffer like you have never seen before because of the fact that the elite did not get in who they wanted. There is going to be a fist fight, I mean literally, between the elite and Mr. Obama that is going to be so horrifying. The average person is going to suffer. The average household is going to suffer. I feel so sorry for the average person who does not know what's really going on. I wish you could have heard what I heard. So, Bobby, we'll go in any direction you wish because you know what I said. Now, keep in mind, folks, something. You really think they're God, but they aren't. Now, please, understand something. They don't always get their way. They didn't get their way in Syria. Assad was supposed to have been dead 4 or 5 months ago, and he's not yet. He's still holding out. I told you in my DVD presentation that I made a year and a half ago entitled Middle East, The Rest of the Story. I gave you the nations that I had been told at the time that Egypt and Mubarak was deposed, and at the time I said it's going to be Egypt, it's going to be Libya, it's going to be Yemen, it's going to be Syria, and then it's going to, in somewhat of an order, with Saudi Arabia being the last, and they thought they would take over Syria just like they did Egypt. The elite did not get their way. Assad is still in there, and they're still fighting at this thing. So they're 6 or 8 months behind. So please, understand, I have to take the elite at their word as they tell it to me, and what they said to me was, we do not want Obama back in office again.
You know, with that being said, Lindsey, you know, I said this to you this afternoon or this morning, your time when I called you, that it would appear then in that case that there is some type of a war going on between the socialists and the elite of this world, and especially in this country. Maybe I should say communist, since we're talking about Obama, because he paid for all those votes. He paid for every one of them through free cell phones and mortgages and gas and everything else, and they did not want him in. But now it appears that, of course, I think there's a lot of fraud going on with that as well, simply because he's seen how many places did we see across this country, especially in Ohio and North Carolina, where there were already problems with the voting machines that people would vote for Romney, and it came up Obama, and yet he got 99%, sometimes in one place even 127%, which is impossible to have. Hell, dictators don't even get that much, Lindsey.
Now, everybody out there in your listening audience, I'm sure you know the Constitution and a form of government that we have in America, which is a constitutional republic. You've studied the Constitution enough that you know there are 2 kinds of vote. That's right. Please, bear with me now. There are 2 kinds of votes in the United States of America. Number 1, there is the popular vote. This is what the people go to the voting booth and cast their votes. Secondly, there is the electoral college vote. The popular vote does not necessarily elect the President of the United States of America.
That would be a democracy.
The popular vote, yeah, that would be a democracy. And our founding fathers put in that protective mechanism of the college, electoral college, in order to protect us from a democracy. They knew that a democracy would turn into a horrible thing, and they gave us a constitutional republic. So, you voted for electoral college members. Those electoral college members, each state has so many according to population, and those electoral college members elect the President of the United States of America. Now, this afternoon, I'm going to give you the latest report. You go on the internet for yourself and prove it after this program. This afternoon, the latest report, you see there were a lot of absentee ballots. There were many, many states that have had trouble. Some of the northeastern states, because of the storm, the horrible hurricane that came in, and right behind it, there was a blizzard. And many of them are still in the process of counting votes up in that part of the country. And as of this afternoon, Romney won the election by 1 million popular votes. Are you getting my words? Now, please don't misunderstand me and don't misinterpret me. As of this afternoon, the latest tally is that Romney has approximately 1 million more popular votes than Obama, but the states who have the most electoral college votes, enough of them had come in to guarantee Mr. Obama the election. Now, if it went according to popular vote, Mr. Romney would be our president right now.
Yes, it would, but that would be a democracy. That would not be a representative form of government like we have. Lindsey, we have our first caller on the line. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready, please.
Okay, I'll introduce this one. This one is a very dear friend of mine. He is a host here at Just Measures Radio Network. He goes by the handle of John Galt. And so, John, fire away, sir.
Dr. Williams, been a fan for a long time, and I appreciate all of your efforts and work that you've committed to the freedom movement in the past. So I wanted to sit there and bring this question out because you hit a subject near and dear to my heart and to what my major and my focus is, the Middle East. It's my belief that the gun running and weapon smuggling to the Syrian rebels was designed to trigger what I call the Damascus option, where nerve gas or other chemical agents will be obtained by Al-Qaeda and other Muslim Brotherhood rebels and launched against Israel, resulting in a retaliatory strike against Assad and his regime at the behest of the Marxist elites. I would like your opinion on this because I think we're closer to that than ever with the recent mortar and artillery shelling occurring in northern Israel.
John, thank you so much for your call tonight. I appreciate it. And you're correct in what you're saying. My elite friend have told me some things about the Middle East just recently and what's going to take place. I could make, according to what he has told me recently, I could make predictions about Iran. I know exactly what's going to happen under the Obama administration. And likewise with Israel, and what you're saying about these weapons getting in the hands of those that would attack Israel, you're exactly right. The United States of America will not, I hope you're hearing me, the United States of America will not stand with Israel under the Obama administration. America would have stood with Israel under the Romney administration, but not under the Obama administration. They'll be left out in the cold to make it the best they can, and with these weapons in the hands of their enemies, we very well could see some very startling events take place in the Middle East.
Dr. Williams, thank you very much. And folks, I encourage you to call in, because if this is not the end times, and I know people are scared to call in, but look, folks, this is the time to ask the questions, because our methods of communicating with such great guests as Lindsey Williams and Natty Bumppo are about to come to an end. When the government puts the hammer down, that's it. So call in and ask your questions tonight, because time to prepare is limited. And God bless you, Dr. Williams. Thank you so much for answering that question.
Yes, thank you for calling.
Thank you, John. All right, we have another caller on the phone right now. Phone number, and I can't remember everybody's phone number, doggone it. I should know this one. Phone number 0806. Welcome to the Pathfinder.
Yeah, I'm calling for Pastor Williams. This is Todd calling from Washington, D.C.
Hello, Todd. How are you, sir?
Good. I've spoken online with Pastor Williams and offline once as well. And we always focus on the monetary issues on the phone calls, but this one we're trying to pin down as a group, even in the chat, trying to pin down the specific timeline that we'll be following as far as interest rate hikes in the U.S., currency devaluation, bank holidays, that sort of thing. People are trying to get a feel for when it's going to happen. Like, will March be bank holidays? Will it be a full-blown currency devaluation? When will the global currency be introduced? These are the sorts of things we're debating. So any insights you could provide and any concrete information that was shared with you would be greatly appreciated, sir.
Well, Todd, thank you so very much for your call. And definitely you made the right decision to call in tonight, because some very unusual things have happened. I'm quite sure that you will even sense in my voice tonight what's in my heart, as I wish I could pour everything out to you. In order to give you some timelines, let me go back a ways. Now, many of you remember that I appeared on Bobby Black's show before the election, and I had some very definite words about what I thought would be taking place. I told you that there would not be a currency collapse. I've said that over and over during the last year, when many of the newsletter writers were saying the currency will collapse, and I would go back to my elite friend and I would say, is it going to happen in September, October, November? He'd say no. I say, is it going to happen in November, December, September, October, November, December? He'd say no, and I came back and I told you exactly what he had told me. Immediately after the election, I contacted my elite friend. Now, I don't know how to say this, but I'll try to put it in words if I can. The information that I received, someone asked me the other day how I would describe the information that I received from my elite friend. Now keep in mind, I've been in touch with these people for 35, maybe 38 years now. And the information that I received from my elite friend, if I could put it in my own words, I would put it this way. The most startling thing that any person has ever heard since the founding of the United States of America was what I heard. Now, that's a very bold statement. It's a big statement. It's startling. And it even scares me to think about it. When I heard what I heard and analyzed what he was saying to me, I said, I can't give this out to anybody. Not right now. And that's the reason I didn't. You know how many radio shows I do. I do 3 and 4 radio shows a day normally. I did not do a single radio show last week. This is the only show I'm on this week. And next week, I will not be taking a single radio show from anybody. Even if a radio show host called me and asked, I would not take a show next week. Last Thursday, 5 different shows called me in one day, and I turned all 5 of them down. I was scared to give out what I've got. And I'm going to give it out. I'm going to give it to you. I can't give it all to you on the air tonight. There are only certain things that I can say tonight. On December the 4th, when Bobby has me back, I will be able to tell you everything. And don't you miss that show. On December the 4th, if you ever listen to one of Bobby Black's shows, I beg you to listen to that show. The information was so startling that I was given. And you please forgive me for hesitating tonight, but I have to be very careful with what I say. The information that was given to me was so startling that I said, until I can put this on record, until I can record it, I will not give it out. Because people will have every kind of a reaction imaginable. They'll say, well, Lindsey, you said this, you said that. Until I can put it on record, I can give out certain things tonight. I can tell you this. The elite did not get what they wanted. I still stand by what I said on Bobby Black's show before the election, and that was they did not want Mr. Obama back in office again. And if Mr. Romney could win by the popular vote, he would be the President of the United States of America, Dave. This is how close that is. You saw the report this afternoon of the popular votes that have come in so far and been counted, and there's still many to count. But Mr. Obama's in there. He did win the Electoral College votes enough to officially accept the job as President of the United States of America. Now, the elite did not get what they wanted. Mr. Obama had double-crossed them in 3 ways during the last 4 years. The Trans-Canada Pipeline, the Dobbs-Frank bill, and opening up of public lands to oil exploration. All 3 of those, the elite told him they wanted it, and he literally double-crossed the elite. Now, at this point, the elite realized that Mr. Obama is this haughty, arrogant, self-willed. He thinks he has the world by the tail right now. And if you could listen to my elite friend, it would scare the daylights out of you, because you would realize that the elite now have a real problem on their hands. This man is out of control, and they know it. And there's nothing they can do about it. He's in, and I don't know what they might do. I wouldn't put anything past them. They're so upset about it, especially the older elite. And because of it, Mr. Obama thinks now that he has more power than the elite of the world, who have run this world for years and years and years and years. And he is so arrogant and proud and haughty that there are things that he intends to do to spite the elite. And in turn, there is going to be an all-out fist fight between Mr. Obama and the elite, and who's going to hurt most? The middle class Americans, Bobby.
Wow.
And Todd.
Yeah, they are, and you did word that very carefully because I know our conversation this afternoon. Listen, Lindsey, why don't we go ahead? We're at the bottom of the hour already. Let's go ahead and take a break, and that break will be just for you. It'll be about 5 minutes and 15 seconds. That way you can get yourself a drink of water, what have you. Phone lines are open. Any and all questions that you would like to ask Lindsey Williams, this is your opportunity. 1-877-213-6404. I'll give that number again when we come back from the break. Please do not call in until after the break is finished. We will be right back with more with Pastor Lindsey Williams in just a few minutes. And welcome back, everyone. This is the Nancy Bumpo here on Just Measures Radio Network, the Pathfinder. Again, I want to thank everyone. Again, this show has just, in the last couple of weeks, just exponentially has grown, and to the degree that I'm just shocked. And I would like to thank everyone out there, all of you who have supported us throughout this past year and a half. Here at Just Measures Radio, whether it be through your prayers, which is extremely important financially. Boy, the phone lines are just lighting up right now. Lindsey, we have 3 callers. Okay, everybody, please make sure your radio is turned down. We have 3 phone callers online right now. Lindsey, are you ready to go, sir?
I am ready, Bobby.
All right, first phone number. 5660. Welcome to the Pathfinder. Please state your name and your question for Lindsey Williams.
Hi, guys. My name's Kathy.
Hello, Kathy.
And so nice to meet you, Lindsey. I'm so excited.
Kathy, thanks for calling.
God bless you. My question is, I'm trying to understand. There's different sections of the elite then, right? Because, Obama obviously can't have all this power to be able to do all this fraud and you know what I'm saying? How can he possibly get himself there? So there's got to be the big part, isn't there one certain kind of elite with him and another kind of elite behind Romney and another elite over, you know what I'm saying? So it's got to be the elite fighting each other. Who's going to do the fist fight? Who's fighting each other?
For many, many years, there has only been one elite. It began, of course, it goes way, way back many, many years. The ones that I knew 35 years ago, they were the old-time elite. This was Daddy Bush, George Herbert Bush, who was the president for one term. Daddy Bush many years ago. You're talking about Mr. Henry Kissinger. You're talking about those who were cohorts with them. And this was, for many, many, many years, the only elite that there was out there. Then there were the children of these who are the younger elite today, and they don't have any disagreements with their parents, really. But yet, on the other hand, they are more up-to-date and modern with some modern ideas compared to what their parents had, but that still doesn't change the elite. Then you have, really, that's the only elite, except now you are developing an international, and this has just happened within the past 6 months. There has developed now a group who I'm really hesitant to call them elite. Let me try to explain just one group of them, for instance. There is the group called BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And there are a number of other these little, what you would call splinter groups that are out there who have developed an international, I hesitate to call them elite, but they are such a powerful force. And this international group doesn't trust the American dollar. They don't trust the elite that you and I know. The elite whom I knew and the people who are the true elite group, as I would call them, are free enterprise capitalists. They are not communist and they are not Muslim. But then there are all these, there's this international conclave of people who are now stepping in there and saying, we have power too. Let me just give you an idea of the power of this BRICS group. They're 43% of the world's population. Now, that's pretty good size. And they are 18% of the world's gross domestic product on any given day. And they're 53% of the global financial capital. Now, they have enough power and wealth to be able to challenge the old-time elite, whom you and I would call elite, which I've already mentioned the names of some of them, and then some of them, you'll never know their names. I knew some of them and lived with them. I never met them all, but I met many of them when I was their chaplain for 3 years. And so you have a whole new world out there right now.
Lindsey, is there the people that you knew were in the oil business? Is there elites in the oil business, elites in the banking business, elites in the toilet paper business? Is there elites in every area, or is it just one group of people? And could we call them illuminists?
Yes, you can call them illuminists. You can call them skull and bones. You can call them the elite. You can call them the bankers of the world. Yes, that's exactly what you could call them. And in my book, Syndrome of Control, and also Summoned to Seduce a Nation, I describe these people in detail. Yes, that would be the proper name for the old-time, long, many years of elites through many family generations. They have held this position, and they hold the strings to all of the banking systems of the world, to the big oil companies, to the money of the world. They have held this power for years and years. And now, of course, you've got this little splinter group of people out there, like I mentioned a moment ago, the BRICS group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, who are rising up now as great powers, and they think, well, we're big enough to be able to give the elite a run for their money. And as a result, it's causing some change of plans. It's causing some definite directions, and it is going to cause major problems in the world.
Kathy,
okay, so these new ones.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so these new ones. So are these new ones the ones that are backing Obama?
Not necessarily. Obama is a strange creature out here. I think the elite. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this guy. The elite originally realized that they could put up with him. Well, they thought they could, and then this haughty, arrogant pride. This guy that they couldn't even control him. They had been able to control everybody else. I mean, tooth and toe. Bush. Well, Daddy Bush, he was the elite of the elite, so their son, there was no problem with that. Bill Clinton, just a playboy. They had no trouble at all controlling him. They had so much on him, from Monica Lewinsky to you name it. And all of these were totally under their thumb and complete control. All of a sudden, they get a man in there that is a renegade. I mean, he not only threatens the elite, he dares them. He makes decisions in favor of his Muslim Brotherhood friends, and all of a sudden they realize they have got a tiger. And then Mr. Obama comes along, and please try to understand this. 48% of every person in the 48% of all the people in the United States of America receive some sort of a payment from the government every month. Now try to think about this for a moment. It could be a food stamp. It could be a Social Security check. Maybe it's a Medicare or Medicaid. Possibly that person works for the government. But 38% of the people in the United States of America receive some sort of a remuneration from the government every month now. And please, you need to write this down. Put it beside your calendar and watch it happen. It is scary beyond words. Mr. Obama intends to have 70% of all the people in the United States of America receiving some sort of a check from the government every month. By the end of the next 4 years, that means that whoever writes that check can automatically become the president again. I mean, he has literally bought his way into office. He gave away cell phones. He gave away food stamps. I mean, this is so horrifying right now to realize that we have a monster in there who does not believe in our Constitution. He does not believe in the Republic. He is a communist, and he is also a Muslim, and he's totally out of control. Even the elite can't put their finger on him. And he got back in office again, and he wasn't supposed to. Can you see the dilemma that's going on out there right now?
Kathy, is there any other questions that you have, sweetheart? Because we have 2 more callers in queue. Just want to make sure you have a chance.
One more statement, and then you guys can talk about it. But, you know, as far as the popular vote, we're never going to know. There's so much fraud. We have no idea who really won the popular vote because there's so much fake votes out there. There's so many fake vote counts. You know what I mean? Anyway, Lindsey, thank you. God bless you.
Kathy, let me answer that last question because this is so important also. And again, thank you for all of these questions you've asked tonight and for calling in. I had a phone call last week from Dr. Stan Monteith. Many of you know him, a very, very prominent older gentleman, many, many years as a radio talk show host. He's on stations all over the nation. And Dr. Stan called me and asked me to be on all of his shows, and I said, Dr. Stan, I'd like to, but I can't until after I have recorded what I have heard because I said it's too dangerous. I got to put it on record first. And he said to me, he said, Lindsey, did you hear what happened now that all of the votes are in from certain precincts? He said, there is a precinct in Pennsylvania who 99% of the people in the precinct, it's recorded that they voted for Obama.
Oh, there's several in Ohio. I think there's like 20 of these precincts are better, including one precinct that got 127%.
127%.
That's right. All right, Kathy, I gotta let you go, sweetheart. Thank you for calling in. If you want to call back in later, you can.
You.
All righty, bye-bye.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, Pastor Williams, we have 2 more callers in queue here. Up next is a gentleman, a friend of mine as well, also not a host here at Just Measures Radio, but a solid contributor to the network in many, many ways. Doc Toops, how you doing this evening, Doc?
Good evening, Bobby. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. Go ahead with your question for Pastor Williams.
Pastor Williams, how are you, sir? This is Doc Toops. I've had the pleasure of speaking with you in the past.
Well, thank you so much for calling tonight.
I have a fairly succinct question, and I know that you, for whatever reason, can't give away the totality of your most recent information, so I'll keep this fairly short and sweet. In the past, you have, established a reputation for being well known as a proponent of holding gold and silver. And so I am curious how, if in any way, does your new information affect your outlook for precious metals? And that's it, sir. I thank you for your time. I'm going to sign off so you can answer that, and I know Bobby has several people in queue, and your time is limited, so I appreciate your response.
Thank you, Doc.
If people have ever bought precious metals in their entire lifetime, they should buy every piece, every ounce, every half ounce, every quarter ounce, every tenth ounce. I don't care what you buy. You should get your hands on every piece of gold and silver that you can possibly get it on, and get it as quick as you can. Buy it yesterday. Don't even wait till tomorrow. Record it tonight. Buy everything you can possibly buy. It is the only thing that is going to have any purchasing power or value when all of this is said and done.
And how do you think, Lindsey, this election is going to not only you said that, but how do you think it's going to affect the prices of the precious metals?
Well, precious metals are going through the roof. You have never seen anything yet. You think that $1,700, $1,800 gold is high priced? It's going to be dirt cheap compared to what you're going to see it by the end of this 4-year administration. The elite, okay, let me go back just a little bit. I had a very prominent person on Wall Street that I was talking to the week before the election. And I said, what is going on out there? What's happening? You know, the elite have put me in touch with many people. And as a result, there's a whole myriad of folks out there now that when I want an answer to something, I call them up and I can depend on getting the truth that you won't get from the national news media. And he and I were on the phone. I asked him exactly what was happening the week before the election, and he said, Lindsey, the markets are frozen. I said, what do you mean? He said, the people who have money are scared to death. They don't know which man's going to get in. They have not the slightest idea of what's going to happen. They don't know what's going to happen to the tax structure. And he said, for right now, the liquidity in the markets, and that's the exact word he used, he said the liquidity in the markets is not there. Everybody is holding on to what they have. They're not investing right now. And he said, it is really bothering me because he said, we have got to get that money flowing again. Now, I talked with this gentleman on the phone just this morning. And I said, what is happening now? He said, Lindsey, it's worse than it ever was. The Wall Street stock market has lost over 1,000 points since Obama got in. It should have lost 3,000 or 4,000 by now. But it's only lost 1 because the plunge protection team comes in and protects it every day and keeps it from going to where it should. The wealthy are literally scared more than you can possibly imagine. They're frightened to the point that, listen now, please, and you already know this, you've heard it in the news, but I'm going to try to put the pieces together for you. Mr. Bernanke, chairman of the Federal Reserve, has already said he will not serve another term. Why is he leaving? He knows what's going to happen. Now, watch out who is gone. Hillary Clinton announced yesterday or day one, she will not serve in the Obama administration again. Do you know where Hillary and Bill are going?
And that's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, they're leaving the country.
Are they leaving? Is it official? They are leaving the country.
Yeah, they're leaving the country. All right. Here's another person at the very top who sees the handwriting on the wall. Timothy Geithner, the monetary man of the United States of America, head of our money system. Timothy Geithner, he has just resigned also. He says, I'm not going back in there. Why? Bernanke, he knows there is nothing that can be done since Obama has gotten in. The elite, whom he's going to tax to death, are not only scared to death, they're holding on to their money. They're not investing. They're not investing in stocks. They're not investing in bonds. They're not investing in businesses. They are cut. Have you noticed how many companies have announced since Obama got in office that they were cutting thousands and thousands of workers? They're laying them off. Thousands are being laid off. Why are they laying them off? Watch it now. Any person who works 29 hours a week or more, the company is going to have to pay for the health care system, Obamacare, for them. If they work 29 hours or less, that company is not obligated. Thousands, probably millions of people in America are going to lose their job between now and the time that Obamacare officially becomes initiated, because what they're going to do is give nobody, except the ones that positively are the most important people in the company, they'll keep those on. They have no choice. They've got to have leadership. But anybody else that holds a menial job, they're going to give them less than 29 hours or less per week and not let them work one minute later over. And instead of hiring one person for a job, they'll hire 2 people for the job and give each one 29 hours a week because they cannot afford to pay Obamacare.
Lindsey, we have another phone call. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All right, phone number Welcome to the Pathfinder. Please state your name and your question for Pastor Williams.
Hi, this is James. Pastor Williams, you mentioned before the end of December the dollar would be dead. Is that still in the plans? That's the first question, meaning that the value of the dollar will crash. Not die, but crash. Is that still on? And number two, if the elite hates Obama that much, as you're claiming, could he go the same route as JFK?
Ooh, good question.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your question.
Well, thank you so much, caller, for calling. First of all, let me answer the latter question first. I don't know. Could he go the way of
JFK? Can I pipe in there for a minute, Lindsey?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's something that we have speculated here on the Pathfinder for several months now. I am definitely looking for a false flag assassination attempt on Obama. I think that would secure his power. I looked for it before the election, but now it would secure him as concrete where he is at. He could be, if we think he's untouchable now, he would definitely be untouchable then. But we don't, again, as Lindsey says, we don't know whether the elite would do something like that or not, but God knows they have done it before. Sorry, Lindsey, I just wanted to get my 2 cents in there.
Now, as far as the first question, is the dollar going to be, let's see, I think you used two different words in your question. One, the dollar's going to be dead, and the other one, the dollar will collapse. I have never, ever said that the dollar would collapse by the end of December. I have said that the dollar would be dead. And I very carefully, on every radio talk show that I've ever said this on, have punctuated that by saying, don't misinterpret what the elite have told me. The elite did not say that the dollar would be non-existent, but the elite did say that the dollar would be dead by the end of 2012, and that statement is still true. Now, let me show you why it's dead already. Now, I know you say, I can go to the grocery store, and I can go to the hardware store, and I can go to the drugstore, and I can still buy things with my dollar. That is correct. But the scene is changing very rapidly. I hope you have pencil and paper. If you don't, you be sure to go back in the archives and pick this up. I want to tell you why the dollar is dead by the end of December of 2012. There have been a number of nations who have agreed, and they have signed agreements to this effect, that they are going to sell and trade each other's products amongst themselves and will not use the American dollar for the sale and trade of those products. The first signed agreement was in February of 2012. China, the second largest economy in the world, Japan, the third largest economy in the world, and most everything that you see in Walmart or Target, you'll find either made in China or Japan. Very few things made anyplace else. And these two countries have said they're going to trade each other's products among themselves. Well, with the masses of population that you've got in China, do you realize how many dollars will not be needed because of the agreement that these two countries have already made? They will not use the American dollar any longer, and they will not use SWIFT. Do you remember what SWIFT is? SWIFT is the Society of Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, whereby the reserve currency of the world, the dollar, was transferred to every nation whenever people were transferring in the terms of millions and billions and trillions of dollars. And they use SWIFT to do it. China and Japan won't do that anymore. They don't have to because they've already signed an agreement that the dollar will not be used for that trade. I'm going to list very quick because I know we're coming up to a break. I'm going to list very quickly each of the nations since January the 1st of this year have signed such agreements. China and Russia signed an agreement on September the 7th. China and Brazil have signed one. That's the BRICS agreement that was made on April the 5th of 2012. Then there is the China and Australia agreement that was signed just a matter of days ago. Then there is the India and Japan agreement. Then there's the India and China agreement. Now, folks, these are signed agreements within less than 12 months. There's Iran and Russia. There is China and Chile. There is China and the United Arab Emirates. There is China and Africa, and the Standard Bank of China is backing up this agreement. There is the BRICS agreement. There is China and Germany, and this was just signed on September the 7th. And then on September the 6th, China, all of these agreements have been signed between these nations and have said we're not going to use the American dollar for any products that we buy and sell amongst ourselves any longer. Folks, this is trillions and trillions of American dollars that are no longer needed nor wanted, and neither will they come and buy our T-bills that the Federal Reserve issues every so many days. Let me state emphatically, as I possibly can, the dollar is already dead. And it's going to take a few months for the chickens to come home to roost. These dollars that are no longer needed nor wanted are going to be returned back to the United States of America, and when they are, people, you have never seen such catastrophic troubles as you're going to see when these dollars come back unwanted and unused, Bobby.
Absolutely. James, did that answer your question?
Well, yes and no. I guess, does that mean hyperinflation by, the end of December, or does that just mean these agreements have been signed and this is going to go into effect? Or what exactly does that mean?
Oh. Okay, what I'm going to do, James, is there anything more you'd like to add to that, because we do need to go to break?
No, just that point. I mean, just how much effect would affect the average person on the street at the end of December, like a loaf of bread costs $50 now. Will that happen, in your estimation, of what you're trying to say, by that period of time?
Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and let you listen off air. We do need to go to a break. And Pastor, is it okay if we answer that after the break, sir?
I will be glad to answer. Please be listening and you'll hear the answer.
All right, thank you, James. You have a wonderful evening, sir. Thank you for calling in. All right, folks, we will be, we got all kinds of calls coming in. Okay, next caller, listen, we're going to go to break. I'm going to put everybody on mute. Pastor Williams is going to run and get himself something to drink. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone. We got a lot of stuff to cover right here during this segment. I know I've seen Katie Rose called in a while ago, Pastor, and she's a good girl. Real quick, the first question that you had was on hyperinflation. That was a question before the break. And so when do you foresee that coming, sir?
How will the dollar being dead by the last day of this year, how is it going to affect the average person? Hyperinflation was mentioned, but I want to mention something else that's much, much more drastic than hyperinflation. Yes, you're going to see hyperinflation. There's no way around it. But there's something more important than that. Now, with all of these countries using their own currency now, they no longer trust the reserve currency of the world. They no longer trust the petrodollar of the world, which was the American dollar, the greenback, the Federal Reserve note. They don't trust our currency anymore. They see America. Congress can't solve our problems. They can't get a budget. We have a $16 trillion, and it's going up exponentially. It's going up every day. It's unbelievable. I'm going to give a lot of this in my presentation that we'll have in January, just how it's going up. Now, here's what's happening. The nations